Bang! Needs knives. I'm Jared. My lovely wife Kara is out digging dinosaur bones. After seeing the Jurassic, she just couldn't help herself. And today we are talking about Spyderco's ceramic stones. Here I have the Spyderco Medium and the Spyderco Ultra Fine. So, I did not clean them right away because I wanted to show you what they look like as they are dirty. So let's take the caps off of these and then we will talk about everything. So, set these over here. Okay, so now the overall length is 8 by 2 inches, but you will notice that the Ultra Fine is a little bit longer than the medium. If you can see that. And also the medium is slightly bit taller than the Ultra Fine. But the Ultra Fine is 8 by 2. This one's just under 8 inches and 2 inches wide. Now, compared to the grit comparison, now if I was going to say the grit pattern, I didn't read this. This is just my opinion. But I would say that this is between 800 and 1,000, and this one's between 2,000 and 2,500 grit. You can absolutely get a mirror finish off of this stone, and these stones do leave great finishes. This one can give you a semi-polished finish that's pretty shiny, but you will still see the grit pattern on there. So, how to use them? Using them, so you use pressure on these. Unlike diamond stones that cut with no pressure because you let the diamonds do the cutting, you actually have to put pressure on these. And then as you get towards finishing your edge, you use lighter and lighter pressure. Now, that can be a benefit and also bad, because sometimes when you're putting pressure down, and especially depending on the size of the knife, the blade shape, everything else, it can be difficult to keep pressure and hold your angle. But these things also can help you hold your angle because they have a feeling to them. Since they are really, really flat, they have like, it's almost a feeling and a sound to them when you actually have your angle. And as you use them more and more, you realize the feeling of when you have your angle. And after you understand that feeling, they become easier to hold your angle. You'll notice when your angle changes immediately because you can feel it. Now, these things are very low maintenance, and they are very hard, so they don't dish out, and they also last forever, as long as you don't drop them. If you do drop them, they can shatter because they are so hard, kind of like dropping a kitchen plate. They will shatter. They are very heavy too, so if you drop them on your toe, you will possibly break your toe. So you want to keep them protected in a sense, and as long as you do that, they will last forever. They're easy to clean, but they also, this stuff right here can be hard to remove. So you just use soap and water and you give them a scrubbing. Or you can use an eraser that you would use to erase the lead off of paper, like a pencil's eraser. You just get a big one and you can clean the surface of these off. Now, if you continue to let them get this film on them, you will eventually have to use a diamond plate for ceramic stones. And it will, you just scrub it on the surface and it will clean the surface off. But that's still very low maintenance compared to stones that dish out. And when I say dish out, they start morphing. Like here, let me just show you. Like if you look at this, you see how this is completely flat. So look at this one. You see how this kind of goes up right there? It's dishing out right there. Now, in order for me to fix that, I'm going to have to flatten it, so I will lose a lot of material. These won't do that to you. They will always stay completely flat. Now let's talk about sharpening on them. So when sharpening on them, they feel very hard, as most stones do, but you don't have that scratchy, gritty feeling that you have from other stones. The surface feels very smooth, and it feels like it's cutting slower than it is. Now, the more pressure you put, the faster it will cut. So they can cut relatively fast depending on how much pressure you put. But compared to other stones, they do feel like they are cutting a lot slower. Also, they are a little bit higher grit, so obviously they're not going to cut as fast as something that's a lower grit. Now, in the end of this video, I will tell you what I recommend, or how I recommend to use these. So, the biggest thing is going to be holding your angle. As long as you hold your angle and drag it across the stone, it is cutting, but the more pressure you put, the faster it will cut. But you want to hold your angle perfectly on these. Now, that can be difficult for some people, but these stones can also help you hold your angle. Like I said before, you know, you can kind of feel it. Now, if you can hold your angle, these can give you an absolute flat edge that looks very good and is incredibly sharp. Okay, let's go over some of the finishes. So this stone here is a knife done off of the medium stone. We'll zoom in and look at the edge. Now, if you look at the edge, you'll see it's very flat, and it's actually kind of shiny. It's kind of got that that semi-mirror. It's not mirror, but it's got a shiny edge, and it actually looks pretty good. Trying to show, you know, let me just zoom all the way out, show it back here. Move this out of the way. Now let's zoom in really quick and let's take a really close look at this edge. Now you will see the grit pattern and the scratch pattern in it. Maybe I should have wiped all the fuzz off. But you see the grit pattern. Now let's look at the Ultra. Okay, now you can see this is, it looks a little cloudy in the camera, but it's an absolute mirror. we will get a, and you see how it takes fingerprints. One of the problems with the mirror edge, they definitely take fingerprints. And depending on the steel, depends on how good the ultrafine will do on the edge. Depends on how good the mirror will come up. Depends on how sharp it'll feel, and lots of variables. Let's take a close look at this one. Now, even though it's a mirror edge, it still will show a grip pattern. If I can get it to come up. If you really look, you can see that grip pattern. Now that's going to make sure it still has some bite to it. There we go. But that's basically what it looks like off of the ultra fine. Now, depending on how much time you spend on it, you know, you can get it shinier, and also, you know, based on the pressure. And, you know, when you're finishing, you want to go from using pressure to using lighter and lighter and lighter pressure. But you can get an absolute mirror, and a nice mirror that has still some bite to it. And that's what I do like about it, is that it comes off the stone very sharp. And like I said, that depends on the steel too. Some steels don't like a mirror polish. Some steels just do better with a lower grit. So also, when using the stone, you will feel when you have a perfect angle and you've been running it back and forth across the stone after a bit, you will start to feel almost like a suction cup. You will know then you have a perfect flat edge. Now, I'm not saying it's completely flat yet, but you're definitely on the right track. You almost feel like the edge is sucking to the stone. And it's because this is so flat and your edge is so flat and there's moisture in between. So it almost creates a suction cup. And it will almost feel like it's magnetic to the stone as you're rubbing across. Now, that can be a huge benefit, because it will help you keep and hold that angle as it suction cups across the stone. Now, you can get that from both of these stones. More so from this one, but you can still feel it very much on this one. So now the good and bad. All right, one thing that's good is that they are very hard. So since they're very hard, they're very flat. So you don't have to worry about them not being flat. The surface is very hard. They last a very, very, very long time. They last forever. So they have very low maintenance. They leave an incredible finish. That leaves an incredible edge that's incredibly sharp. They don't dish out. And they're nice and big, at least for these ones. Like I said, they do come in different sizes though. But it's nice having a nice long big stone. Now, some of the bad things, they are expensive. They can be heavy. I mean, depending, but I mean, that doesn't really bother me, but it might some people. They can shatter very easily if you drop them on a hard surface. And you have to use pressure. So I'm not saying that is a bad thing, but your hand can start to ache if you're using a very small knife and trying to you know, hold your angle for quite some time using pressure. It can get sore on your hands. All in all, I do recommend them. They do leave a great finish. They are great to use, and you can get an incredibly sharp edge off of them. They do have a unique feeling to them because they are so hard and so smooth. So your blade does go across them a lot easier than other stones. And that's where it can be difficult to hold the pressure sometimes, or it might be even easier to hold the pressure, I guess. But you want to get used to them, because after you get used to them, like I said, it's very easy to hold. I'm not gonna say it's very easy, but you can tell when you're holding your angle, and you can tell when you're losing your angle or when you've changed, which is a huge thing to freehanding. You want to know that you're holding your angle. Another good thing is that if you are going to do my finger trick, these do not tear your fingers up. They're very nice to the fingers. So if you're going to do that finger trick that I've taught in a lot of my, where you put the line on your finger and you hold it like that, if you're going to do that trick, I'm looking through the camera, let's stop doing that. If you're going to do that, it's nice to your fingers. So there are lots of benefits to it, and I do recommend it. Thank you guys. Peace.